first up tonight is open to the floor, and each speaker will be allowed 5 minutes. And we have a new mechanism, I guess I'll call it. We tested it out at the June 8th public meeting at Webster Thomas regarding EMS ambulance in Webster. And you'll see it up on the podium. It is a contraption that gives you a green light when you hit the button. And you got your 5 minutes. And when you get down to 30 seconds, it'll start flashing yellow. And then when you hit 5 minutes, it will go red. And that tells you that you're all done. This is better than me having to remind you. So, you can't, this is, I think, apropos that the first person at a regular board meeting that is going to be testing it out based on the sign-in is the Honorable Ron Nesbitt, past supervisor of the town of Webster. So Ron, you just hit the number 1 on top.
Okay. One on right?
You got it.
Okay. Okay. On the agenda tonight, number 17.
You get it again, Ron?
Sure. Okay.
No, go on.
I had it.
Karen?
One and two.
1 and 2. Okay.
Thanks, Karen.
Okay. On the agenda tonight, number 17 states the town board wants to increase the wastewater bond from $44,340,000 to $90 million. First off, Webster citizens have not been given an ounce of detailed information on this topic. We have not seen a signed, legal, binding contract passed by this town board for Fairlight to spend any money on any sewer construction whatsoever pertaining to them. Where is this contract? Town board members, have you seen a contract? Ms. Wynn, have you seen a contract? Mrs. Cataldi, have you seen a contract? Because the citizens of Webster haven't seen one. In the resolution tonight, it states, the town has learned that due to increases in certain project and construction-related costs, the estimated maximum cost of the project was increased from $44,340 to $90 million. And in connection therewith, the amount of bonds or bond anticipation notes to be issued shall need to increase from $44,340 to $9, and all further description in an amended engineering report. Nowhere in tonight's resolution does it mention Fairlight at all. Not one word. It states amended engineer report. When was this filed? With the town clerk, I asked. When was it discussed publicly with the town residents or town board? Why the secret here, Mr. Flaherty? Supervisor Flaherty in his column said that the increase in sewer rate for town residents outside the village would go up $70 per year, but I think your math doesn't work out, Supervisor. There are 15,624 town users. At $70 would bring in $1,093,000 per year over 20 years, which would be $21,860,000. Where is the other $24,140,000 coming from, Mr. Supervisor? Because it's not nearly enough to cover the $46 million increase you want tonight. It's all smoke and mirrors, Supervisor Flaherty, and you have yet to prove to Webster residents the need for these funds with legal documentation. And to the other town board members, don't vote for this incomplete explanation from Supervisor Flaherty until you can cover the $90 million with concrete legal documents. When you add this $46 million, this means this town board will have spent $90 million on sewer, $12 million on sandbar, $28 on highway, which adds up to $130 million Webster residents will be in debt for the next 30 years. That's really something to run on this November, spending $130 million to put our children in debt for years to come. Supervisor Flaherty states that momentum builds momentum, which to me is his catchphrase to spend more Webster taxpayer dollars. Also, he's going to get more grants. All his projects include getting more grants, and he hasn't succeeded half the time in getting these funds. Also, the supervisor failed Webster residents in not getting a host agreement that ensured Webster 100% taxes on Fairlight and their $645 million plan. That would have meant $335,000 a year in tax revenue to the town, but Supervisor Flaherty is willing to take 10% of that as he builds on his momentum. And at this time, he doesn't have or can the town board provide to the Webster residents a document showing how much Webster tax dollars will receive. On another topic tonight, number 9 says, whereas on November 3rd, the town board by resolution number 318 awarded the construction contract to campus construction for not to exceed $98,545. But yet, you're going to amend a contract you already signed for another $1 million tonight. You must think we had trees in Webster that grow dollar bills, because you people are certainly spending a lot of Webster taxpayer dollars. In fact, let me say, I think you're worse than Joe Biden.
Josh, can you turn that off, or Aaron turn it off? Well, I gotta say, that was one of your best.
Point on.
Fantastic.
Point on. Give us the facts.
And our next person up tonight is Jen Pensy. Josh, can you see if it says 5 minutes on top of that to make sure when Jen hits 1 and then 2 it starts?
Whose game did you take this from?
True.
I'll tell you, you can find something like this on the website. You can just throw it up here really quick and it'll count down. It's like monkeys dancing, whatever you want. There's a lot of cool things you can do for 5 minutes. So to get started,
Okay.
yeah, it's my time's going. So.
Okay, we'll give you 5, 10.
No
Go ahead,
problem.
Jen.
I'm good. So I'm going to be short tonight. I won't. I'm just here to make our town board, as well as our supervisor and our neighbors here in Webster, aware of a few things that our community was made aware of last week. And this is happening right now. We brought it to the attention. We wrote our supervisors. We talked with our county legislators. We contacted Adam Bello, the sheriff's department, etc. We received reliable information of criminal, illegal aliens coming into our community, into our county on the 4th of July. No estimate of how many, but we do know what hotels that they were being dropped off at, and we do know that they were all going to be men. We did sound the alert because this is reliable information, and this is what we heard. Crickets. Not one person responded back to us. We took it to candidates. We took it to everybody. We do know the Monroe County legislator committees did meet. It was talked about, and this is what we got. Following up with this, we did get a report. It was confirmed. Not as many came into our community on the 4th of July. They did send one bus to the Holiday Inn Express in Irondequoit and dropped them off there. Again, we did the research because we are concerned about our community. We do know that Adam Bello on May 23rd, knowing that with Title 42 being disposed of, that we were going to get more illegals crossing the border and that they were going to be sent up here. We do know that they're being sent to New York City. From New York City, they're being put in hotels, they're being overrun there. They are then, through Catholic Charities, being sent to Utica, and from Utica, they are now being sent out into our communities. I want us to get ahead of the 8 ball here for Webster. We want to be transparent. In the EO that Adam Bello did put out, stated that they would have to go into a housing contract if they were going to put them into local hotels, and especially hotels that are not extended stays. This is our taxpayer money. We are receiving people who are going to receive social services, they're going to need food, they're going to need clothing, they're going to need everything. And I fully understand what you might not know about me. I lived for 16 years in Honduras. My husband was Honduran. We left Honduras for the same reason that many people are leaving their countries today, because of crime and the international cartels that are in these countries. We came for our safety. And now, 20 years later, 22 years later, I don't feel safe in my own community again. Knowing that these criminals, because I understand who they are, I've had guns pointed to my head. I had to race the wall with electric wire on my property down in Honduras. I had security, I had bodyguards. I actually, before I left, we had to have SWAT teams because my father-in-law was the head of national security trying to clean up these criminals. So I know what type of people, I'm not saying that these people are coming in and they're coming to Rochester, but I do know what criminals from Central America, what we're talking about. And I just want to keep our community safe, especially in the last couple of weeks, end of June, when we are having our own issues with the teenagers, again, near my neighborhood, stealing cars, crashing them, etc. We're out of control. And what I don't want to see is, or hear, are crickets. What can you do? Other communities have done TROs. That's what we need to do. We need to work with other communities. We need to work with Irondequoit. Another community is Chi-Li is also being targeted. We do believe that at this point they may be moving them out because we are starting to talk about it. We are starting to do our own work about this, but we need your help. So I'm just here to appeal to you as the supervisor, as the town board. What can you do to work with our community? Keep us safe. Do you know what's happening? Do you know if our hotels have been contacted? That's where we need to start. Thank you.
So, a quick question.
Yeah, and can you stay up there for 1 second? I think I know what you're going to ask.
Yeah, I got that alert through Telegram also. I shared it with the supervisor. He hadn't heard anything. So I'm glad that you did confirm, in fact, that one bus load was dropped off in Irondequoit, Holiday Inn. What do you know? Because I know that Adam Bello, a couple months ago, I think it was, issued a state of emergency to address this very thing. So I'm curious as to why, when you talked to his office in the county legislatures, why there was no response, and what impact, if any, this declaration of emergency has on us.
So from what we do know was that the emergency order that was dated, I believe, May 23rd, did expire. We have been trying, and our county legislators have been trying to determine and get confirmation that Adam Bello has been renewing that emergency order as it expires. But again, we're hearing crickets.
Okay,
And it's not on the website either.
Yeah. And Councilman Gale, thank you. That you didn't go the way I thought you were going to go, but I'm glad you asked that. But I'm going to ask a simpler question on this one because you used the term crickets twice. And for people in the audience and are watching at home live, or if they're watching this on tape, a rational, reasonable person would think that you mean that you reached out to these 5 board members and we didn't respond to you. Did you reach out to any of our 5 board members?
No, I reached out to some of your
I have
board
no other
members.
questions. I have no other questions. Thank you.
No
All
problem.
right, I just want for the record, you know, and it was one of my favorite lines. We'll get into it later with some other stuff that happened. Like, don't let the facts get in the way of a good story. And I want to make sure when you intimate crickets, you didn't get crickets from the leadership of the town of Webster.
No, I
Thank you.
said supervisors, I mentioned Adam Bello, I mentioned county legislators, I mentioned other candidates. I didn't mention town boards.
Thank you, Jen.
You're welcome.
Okay. Well, Melissa, unless your friend also is signing up, Michelle, is your friend going to also want to speak?
No.
You do not?
I could say a lot, but I'm not.
By all means, take advantage of democracy in the 5 minutes. You should say a lot.
Podium.
All right, you want to give it another shot there, Josh? And this is our test. Does it say 5 minutes? And it's got to hit 1 and 2 to get it going.
That was well worth its money. That's ridiculous. And that's worth it all.
Red battery.
If you want to warn me,
You
I have no
know,
problem.
you said I relish it, so Josh, get it off there. We'll talk to Karen. It's work in progress. I still like the concept of me not having to warn. But Michelle, I think you think I relish warning you, and I think you might like when I warn you. So let's do it the old-fashioned way.
Sure.
Shoot
I
it.
want to second some of the things that Jen said, and particularly about the car thefts in the shopping areas here in Webster. And I don't really know what the motivation is. I have heard through some friends that are out of state in law enforcement and others that this car theft thing is a rite of passage. And the reason that these kids are underage is because they know they can't be arrested. So I'm hoping, and I'm not quite sure how it could be done, but the judges have to be enabled to arrest these people. And I don't care if they're 12. They need to be arrested, because what's going to happen eventually is somebody is going to defend their property or themselves, and someone's going to be hurt or killed. And the person who is defending themselves is going to end up in jail like it's magic and be called a racist because they tried to save their own life. And it isn't hyperbole. This is here now. This has been coming for a long time. And I'm not saying you're ignoring it, but if we're doing Webster-centric stuff, one of the biggest things the board has to do is provide a safe community for everyone to live in. And I do not feel safe. My neighbors do not feel safe. And I don't understand why. I know we have a police department. I know they're doing their very best. But I think on some level their hands are tied as well. And it shouldn't happen. I don't want to hurt anybody. And I think everybody in this room would defend themselves or their property and their home or their children if they had to. And I would support that. So I'm asking, please, engage us. If we can write to the judges and say, listen, you know, you live in this community, you have rulings that you can stop the nonsense. They have to be put in jail. They have to be processed. Thank you.
I don't think anybody can disagree with what she
No,
just said.
when you speak of hands tied, the judges' hands are tied due to bail reform, and sheriffs across the state, judges across the state have written to the mayor or to the governor and legislature to do something about this. Even legislators in Albany have begged the governor to do something regarding these bail reform laws. And this cycle will continue. It's not going to change,
Oh, it's going
in my
to get
opinion,
worse.
until bail reform is changed. And the governor's just making it easier.
I agree.
And it's a travesty, and we're seeing it play out before our very eyes. And your point that you made regarding, you know, somebody defending their home or their house or their vehicle in this instance, it will happen, okay? We know it's going to happen. And you are 100% right that the likelihood is that the person that defends their vehicle using lethal force will end up in jail. So the only thing I would encourage you, if someone's trying to take your car, just give them the keys. You know, just give them the keys.